You are Locked On Clippers Postcast, part of Locked On Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, how about that one? Welcome to the Clippers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. Thanks for listening on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. I am Pete Fox with the Clipper Postcast. After every Clippers game on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, breaking it down for you today, another amazing comeback. I don't know. Are the Clippers finding their way? Are they finding the will? Are they getting some backbone, playing defense? Should we nickname them the Cardiac Clippers or the Rope-a-dope Clippers? I don't know. I feel like watching the first three quarters is a waste of time. I'm Pete Fox, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Today's postcast brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code, all lowercase, LockedOnNBA for your first deposit match up to $100. I had yet another nice prize pick today. Terrence Mann to go above. His number was 9.5. He had that third quarter, I want to say. And I paired it with former USC Trojan and Cleveland Cavalier, Evan Mobley. And he went over rather easily as well. So that was a good feeling that it was over and done with before, the fourth quarter of this game, when the Clippers rallied from down 26. It's just really, really amazing. It's so fun to watch. And it is hard to forget, for me anyway, and overlook how bad they were in the first three quarters. I just have to. I have, lots to say about the first three quarters that are all bad. Everything's negative. I don't think there was much positive in this game before the fourth quarter. But really, right, when they rally and Paul George goes off like that, finishing with 21 in the fourth, huge day all in all, 39, 11, and 7, and the game-winning bucket. Do I have any right to complain? I don't think I do. It's like, yes, shut your mouth and enjoy the fact that they won this game. And I guess I need to hope that the care factor for this team, which Brian Shaw talked about with Christina Pink at the half, is there. This game meant something. Positioning helped them get closer to locking in the 4th spot in the West. Don't really think there's any chance of them getting to the 3, but maybe, if whoever is at 3, is it Dallas or Minnesota? Oklahoma's at 3. 3.5 ahead of the Clippers. So the Clippers are 4 back of Denver. Minnesota's a half game back of the Nuggets. Oklahoma's a game and a half back, and the Clippers are 4 back. So I don't know if they can make up that ground. That'd be 2.5, not 3.5. Sorry. So they're 2.5 back. I guess it's possible. Oklahoma City's lost 3 in a row. Clippers have won 3 in a row. Anything's possible. But the thing is, do they just fart around for 3 quarters and then turn it on in the 4th? Is that a good game plan? I don't know. Down 26. The Cavs, I guess, were due to lose one down that many because they have not blown a 20-point lead all season. I think the Clippers have now 3 20-point deficit comeback wins. I don't, Daniel, I'm not sure I agree with you. The Cavs are so bad. I mean, the Clippers earned that game. They won it in the 4th. How? Fairly simply, playing defense with energy, closing out at the 3-point line. The stuff that they did not do for 3 quarters. The Cavs were moving the ball very well in the 3rd, and guess what happened? They stopped because the Clippers defense was energetic. Good energy that whole 4th quarter from the beginning. Russell Westbrook, the catalyst again. So the formula is pretty obvious. It's pretty easy. It's written all over the whiteboard, I have to assume. The Clippers do the same thing game after game, right? When they win, it's because they play energetically on defense, they guard the perimeter, and they make threes difficult for the opponent. There were a couple of times today early in the game that I wrote it down 2 or 3 different times. The lane was wide open, but it wasn't egregious. It wasn't as bad as it has been, right? The reason the Cavs got ahead in this game was because the Clippers were super lazy at the perimeter. I mean, that late, half-assed, hand in the air closeout, that's what they were doing. And then they went on a 9-0 run at the end of the third and turned it on in the fourth. I had a hell of a time putting the bucket list together today because I thought for sure in that first half they were going to lose by 20. I was like, where's the reason for them to rally? Is there a motivation for them to get hot and win this game? The Cavs were moving the ball well. I thought the Cavs were going to go up by 30 or 40, and the Clippers were going to get just completely embarrassed again. But they rallied. They found a reason, and that's awesome. PG was battling, made the game-winning bucket, and then the block at the other end with under 7 to go to get the Clippers the win. The Cavs had one more opportunity with like 1.7 on the clock, but they came up short. So the bucket list coming up next, it's kind of a mess because I had, what did I have? 1, 2, 3. I had 3 from the first half, and then they just kept piling on buckets in the fourth that were super meaningful, making Steve Ballmer do that ridiculous celebration with his arms swinging in the air. Like, it's just, somebody needs to give that guy a celebration lesson. Or do we just accept that he's super uncoordinated and a big dork and enjoy his enthusiasm? I don't know. I just like go, I'm glad that's not my dad. I mean, I would like to have a billionaire father. That'd be great. But those celebrations are just so embarrassing. It's like, I don't know. I'm torn. Part of me thinks it's cool because he doesn't care. He's like, F you. This is what I'm going to do. Another part of me is like, dude, just go get one of the cheerleaders and say, could you teach me how to celebrate just a little bit, fist pump, not like he's having a seizure. 120-118, the final. Clippers overcome a 26-point deficit to get the win. I am Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. And you can listen to us on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. All right, today's show brought to you by PrizePicks. March is over. March Madness is almost over. The biggest game coming up, of course, tomorrow, the final. So make sure you get your action in on that, the men's NCAA championship game. Get in on the playoff action in the NBA, which is now next week. 1 week from today. We have one more week of the final NBA regular season games, and then we get into the playoffs. So there's so much action there on PrizePicks. I just went with points today, as I said, with Mobley going above and Terrence Mann going above, and that worked out well for me. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. I'm always afraid to go above 3 or 4. 2 seems to be my wheelhouse, but I got to get a little bit braver because it definitely pays off. If you pick demons, which are higher odds, and goblins, which are lower odds, it changes your opportunity to win. But with the $10 bet, you can win up to $1,000 with 4 correct picks. We've got basketball, hockey playoffs right around the corner, college basketball final tomorrow. It's all available to you on PrizePicks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. PrizePicks is the best way to get the action on sports in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. And again, they will match your first deposit up to $100. I got that as well. The deposit and withdrawals super hassle-free, which is an awesome part of PrizePicks that really makes makes life easier. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy. All right, Clippers with a huge come-from-behind win, 120-118. They're now 4 back in the West, and it had something to do with Dallas because I think Dallas lost, and they're fighting with Dallas as well. So a big win for them, one that they really needed, and at first I wasn't actually sure that they cared. You know, I wasn't sure that they had the desire, the heart, the fight, the want to. They really were just kind of going through the motions. They were giving up easy threes to the Cavs, which has been a epidemic for them of late to their opponents. So the fact that they were able to turn it on, find the want to, and get in this game and win it ultimately 120-118 was huge. So they are 2.5 ahead now of the Dallas Mavericks, who are the number 5 seed in the West and are in the middle of a 2-game winning streak. They're 9-1 over their last 10. So they're hot on the Clippers' heels. So they need to keep the momentum rolling. Off tomorrow. And then is it tomorrow and Tuesday? They have a double. Yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday, a home and home with the Phoenix Suns. So I think it's one in LA and one in Phoenix. The first one on Tuesday is in Phoenix and then back in LA on Wednesday. So those games are going to be important. Phoenix is the 6th seed right now and riding a 3-game winning streak. So for the most part, really, aside from Oklahoma City, the top 6 in the West are all very hot, and it's time to keep it going. Again, 4 games to go in this regular season, 2 with the Suns. Then they have Houston and one more rather easy one. Oh, the Jazz again, who they beat by 31, which reminds me, I need to get into something that I thought Brian Seaman said a few weeks ago, and I must have misunderstood it, or he said the wrong thing completely and I understood it correctly. I don't know. I do know Brian and would love to ask him, but I haven't been able to, get to a game in person to ask him this question. But I could have sworn a few weeks ago he said, and I remember making a whole big thing about it here on the postcast, that the Clippers' largest margin of victory in a game was like 18 points. And he goes, that's even dating back to their days in Buffalo. And I was like, that just seems unbelievable to me. There's just no way that any organization in the NBA, it's been around for that long, or even the ones that have only been around for 20 years, have no larger margin of victory than 18, right? So when they beat the Utah Jazz the other night, 131-102, I'm like, oh, there we go. Look at that. The biggest win in Clippers history. And then I went and typed it in, what's the biggest win in Clippers history? And there's like 10, like just like I thought. They've beaten teams by 50, a lot. So I don't know what I heard. I don't know what he said. If you were surprised like me about that, I apologize. I am really sorry that I, steered you down the wrong path there with that. But huge win nonetheless against the Utah Jazz to back up a even bigger win against the Denver Nuggets. So it was nice to see them put those together, consolidating the win, as they call it. That was nice that they didn't come out and lay an egg after a big win over the Denver Nuggets. They almost did today, but again, finding the will, finding the want to, finding the momentum in this one in the fourth quarter. Paul George getting red hot with 21 in the fourth, hitting the game-winning bucket on an ISO play that was just fantastic, is really, really good. I think the question then becomes, I hate even saying this, but are we worried a little bit when Kawhi Leonard comes back? I don't know. I mean, how can you be? All you can think is it's only going to get better, and they don't seem to be terribly worried about his health. They're just resting him right now, really more than anything. So confidence has to be high. I don't know. There's something in the back of my head that just goes, oh no, I really hope that they can keep what they have going and turn it into more when Kawhi returns. He probably will not down the stretch, but I don't know. Maybe they get him in these games against Phoenix and then he rests the final 2 against Houston and Utah. I don't really know. It's going to be very interesting to see how it all unfolds down the stretch here, because they definitely have momentum rolling right now. Paul George is red hot, and you do not want to do anything to disrupt that. He played 44 minutes, so he might get a break on Tuesday. 3 of 9 from beyond the arc, 10 of 24 from the field, but 16 of 16 from the line. Holy cow. Clippers are perfect from the line today. 24 of 24. James Harden had 6. Russell Westbrook had 2, and that's it. So a decent job by the Cavs of playing defense and not sending the Clippers to the line all that much. 24, I guess that's a fairly high number, but Paul George hit 16 of 16. That was a big factor in the fourth quarter as to why they got back into this game. Again, finishing with 39. James Harden didn't play much in the fourth because the players that Ty Lue had on the floor were getting it done, and that did not include James Harden. Russell Westbrook was out there throwing up bricks. I kind of felt like at times that made life a little bit harder for them scoring-wise, but what he provided on defense was overwhelming. That energy that he brings was so apparent to them on defense. Terrence Mann had a decent game, 14 points. Coffee, a huge bucket in the fourth to tie it, and played great defense in the fourth quarter as well. His energy was overwhelming. So I think he feeds off Westbrook. This whole team plays better when Westbrook is on the floor and they need stops and they need energy in the fourth quarter. I don't know why they can't do it earlier. Maybe because they're old and they don't care as much here early in the game, but it is definitely challenging for them to play like this for 4 quarters. I guess I don't think they need to, right? If you can dig out of a hole the cardiac rope-a-dope Clippers, then go for it. All right, let's do the bucket list here. The revised bucket list filled with fourth quarter huge buckets. In at number 5, Norm Powell hit a rhythm 3, 2:10 of the first quarter to make it 29-all. It tied the game for the Clippers. It was a catch and shoot, and it was sweet because, it was just so in rhythm, and it tied the game for the Clippers. They finished the first quarter down 7 because the Cavs got some buckets right there in the final minute to extend the lead. Clippers, I thought were going to be okay. They tied it at 29 with 2 minutes to play in the first, but they went down 7 in the blink of an eye. In at number 4 today on the bucket list, Paul George had a dunk at the 10:58 mark early of the fourth when the Clippers had started to claw their way back into this game late in the third with that 9-0 run. They finished the third down 98-86. But Paul George got this dunk off a beautiful assist from Mason Plumlee to make it a 12-point game, 188. For number 3, there's a couple of shots here. Norm Powell had a 3 off his own miss. So he went in for a layup, missed it, got the rebound, moseyed back out to the 3-point line, and buried a 3. That was at the 10-20 mark of the fourth to make it an 8-point ball game to get the deficit under 10. It was 192. Not long after that, a few minutes later, like 7-8 minute mark, Paul George with a hand in his face, kind of at the wing, late in the shot clock, buried a 3 to make it a 4-point game, 104-100. Cavs still leading, and it lingered around 4 minutes or 4 points deficit there for about 4 to 5 minutes. Number 2 on the bucket list, Terrence Mann hit a 3 at the 116 mark, which tied the game. That was from the corner and huge. And then about 40 to 50 seconds later, Coffee hit that 3, which gave the Clippers the lead, 118-115. That was huge. That was gutsy. He did not hesitate. He got the ball at the wing and buried the 3. More of the Ballmer celebration after that bucket. So like he was having a seizure. Clippers up 3 at that point. Then there was a basket for who had that big basket? Jared Allen, big basket for the Cavs, which tied the game because it was an and one. He made the free throw, but the dagger came at the 07 mark when Paul George had an ISO play. Russell Westbrook brought the ball in, burned some clock, stood there, gave it to Paul George, and everyone kind of just stood around as Paul George went to work on Mobley, and the step back 2 rather at 07 was good. It made it 120-118. And then he had a block shot on the other end, which sealed it for the Clippers, 120-118. Paul George, hero of the day, finishing with 38. We'll take our final break and come back and talk some more about things that we hope that the Clippers can take from this game and build on, and some of the things that were kind of overlooked because they got a win. Some of those errors and issues that are still going to plague me that came from the first three quarters. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. You can listen to us on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. All right, today's show brought to you in part by LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs is very helpful for you if you own your own business. What's the one move that you can make that'll take your business to the next level in 2024? LinkedIn Jobs knows that the success of your business depends on the team you surround yourself with. That's why LinkedIn Jobs has created the tools that help you find the right professionals for your team faster and free. A lot of times, if your business is rolling along and you're doing very well, you need to add people to your staff to kind of keep up with the demand. And that can be hard to find the right people to fit in. And you definitely don't want to dingle dangle and dally around on that, because if you don't, you might lose that momentum like the Clippers had today. They have momentum right now. Let's hope they don't lose it going into Phoenix on Tuesday. LinkedIn Jobs isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which make it the best place to hire. Or hiring is easy. You have the many quality candidates available to you. It's so easy that, in fact, 86% of small businesses get qualified candidates, or at least found, in about 24 hours. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn also knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats that you might not have the time or resources to hire. Thankfully, with LinkedIn Jobs, the process is intuitive, quick, easy, and better than anything, it is free. Post your job for free at linkedinjobs.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, a 26-point deficit erased by the Clippers. Their third 20-plus point comeback, 120-118 over a very good team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who had 46 wins coming in here. Clippers now with 50. I believe they've done that 6 or 7 times in their history, and that's huge. You're always trying to get to 50, and they did it, and that's a feather in the Ty Lue's cap and his staff, that they've battled through some rough patches here since the All-Star break, since the Grammy road trip, et cetera, et cetera. Big win over Utah a couple of nights ago with a huge first quarter, 41-16. That's kind of more of what you're hoping for and you're looking for. Get off to a good start. Maybe if you fall asleep in the second and the third, that's all right. If you can rally in the fourth. But today, the Clippers gave up 40 points in the first and second quarter. They were down 85-59 at the break. That is unforgivable. I'm sorry. It just doesn't, it's not what you are supposed to be doing, right? Again, I feel so dumb saying all these things. And people are probably going, dude, it doesn't matter. They won. What are you whining about? I'm like, well, I don't feel like this is the kind of play for a 4-quarter game that is going to propel you to the higher levels of the postseason. Right? Because as you meet better opponents, not that the Cavs are bad, they're good, but as you meet better, younger opponents, and by the way, the Cavs were not 100% healthy today. So they have more gas in the tank, more weapons in their arsenal that they did not have today. But when you meet, I'm sure Denver, obviously, when they beat them the other day, Jamal Murray wasn't playing. So there's more there. I know Kawhi Leonard wasn't playing for the Clippers. So I guess it's a tit for tat. It's a leveling of the scale of sorts. But these younger teams, Minnesota Timberwolves, Oklahoma City Thunder, New Orleans Pelicans, for that matter, they are not going to let their foot off the gas. They're not going to fumble around and allow the Clippers to get back into these games, especially with that many damn turnovers. Sick of the turnovers. So sloppy and lazy. I don't mind. I will acquiesce on the lazy defense at the perimeter if you can clean up the turnovers. And I know I feel like it hasn't been that bad of an issue it reared its ugly head again today, reappearing with 15. At one point early in the third quarter, the Cavs had 17 points off of turnovers. Just lazy. So let's focus on that part of the badness first and foremost, to say, all right, great fourth quarter, great energy. Defense was solid. Russell Westbrook played defense great. Couldn't really score, but they left that up to Paul George, and that's fine, right? They just kind of got out of his way, and I think you got to give him credit for that he was able to take the ball and run with it. Like, all right, step out of my way, back off and watch me work, right? And I think that was amazing. That's when you feel really, really confident and good that your guy can get it done. And I have begged for that 2 or 3 weeks ago. Can't we just have one guy go off a few days in a row? Here it is. So I need to give him credit and praise him. Yes, Paul George has done that. Has had big games here of late in Kawhi's absence. So that's even better. Now, can Paul George and Kawhi Leonard exist together? We've seen that they can, but I think it's going to be harder for them to both put up that kind of number, 30 plus. But, if you get 28, 30 from one of them and then like 24, 25 from the other, we've seen that that's plenty. That's enough, right? So let's clean up the turnovers. Let's do a better job at the perimeter. Ivica Zubac is getting more physical. For those of you that are haters that think he's soft, I know I have mentioned it. I didn't see that today. Didn't see that at all. Let's look at his line. 27 minutes, 7 of 10, 14 points, 11 boards, 5 consecutive double-doubles. So let's give him credit where credit is due. PJ Tucker started in Kawhi's absence. No points once again, but played pretty decent defense. It wasn't quite as impactful it was a couple of days ago against Denver. I'm sorry, against Denver. I didn't do the Utah game because I was doing Dodgers, who, by the way, are still in the middle of a rain delay today. So that game is not going to finish. It looks like they're down at this point 6-0 in that rain delay in Chicago. Paul George, of course, leading the way, 44 minutes, 3 of 9 from beyond the arc, 10 of 24 from the floor, 39 points. James Harden, very big early in the game when the Clippers needed him. He got off to a great start. He had 8 in the first quarter, as did PG. He finished with 22, including 4 threes, perfect from the line, 6 of 11 from the floor, 22, 5 and 5. So very good day for James Harden. And Terrence Mann, 6 of 6, didn't miss the shot all day. Perfect from beyond the arc, 2 of 2 and 14 points. Mason Plumlee, some very productive minutes, 17 minutes, 3 of 4 from the floor, finishing with 6 points. Westbrook was 3 of 9, missed both of his threes in 25 minutes. He had 8 points, 2 turnovers, 1 block, 1 steal, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. And Amir Coffey, the game-winning shot. Actually, no, that was that tied the game. The game-winning shot was Paul George's, but Amir Coffey, a big bucket there to give the Clippers a 3-point lead late in that game. So he played a big factor. 1 of 6. That was his only bucket. That's even huge, right? That makes it even huger. Is huger a word? I think it is. That makes it even more meaningful that was his only bucket. I did not realize that. I guess he was so active on defense that it didn't really matter. You felt like he did more than he did in that fourth quarter. But, man, you get one shot, you make it. Kudos to you. Way to go. So 1 of 6, 1 of 4 from beyond the arc, but a super important bucket for Amir Coffey there. His only 3 points of the day. Norm Powell did what Norm Powell does, comes off the bench, 28 minutes, 5 of 13, 4 threes, finishing with 14 points as the Clippers get win number 50, coming from behind, down 26 to beat the Cavs 120-118. Again, off tomorrow being Monday, back at it in Phoenix on Tuesday. I will be doing Dodgers postcast tomorrow as they leave Chicago and head off to Minnesota to face the Twins. So join me there on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out where every game is done. And also be doing that on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. Thank you for listening to us here on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed and watching us on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. Have a good rest of your day. We will talk again tomorrow and then again on Tuesday for the Clippers postcast. Have a good one.